You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, LuchaCentral.com presents Straight Out of the Bodega with King, FatBoy, Papo Esco.
From the wrestling world to the podcast world, it's Straight Out of the Bodega with your host,
the King FatBoy, Papo Esco. You have arrived. Pulled up. Welcome to another edition of Straight Out of the Bodega. I am your master of ceremonies, the bully from the bodega, the Lucha Thug, the one-man Lucha gang, El Rey Gordo himself, the King FatBoy Papo Esco, and it's Thursday. And you know we're going to take you for a ride through the blocks, back alleys, and street corners of the bodega. We're going to give you everything you need that's pro wrestling and entertainment. I'm ready, as always. You better be ready. So take a seat, pour up your favorite drink, and let's ride. I hope everyone's doing okay. I'm doing okay. Been busy. Busy equals money to me, which I like. Also keeping my mind off things. You know, I don't know if you guys been watching the news, listening to the news, reading the news, but the news is saying that COVID-19 is getting a second wind. You know, it's starting to spike again. You know, it never stopped, but it's on the rise again. You know, states like Florida, Nevada, California, Texas, Arizona, starting to see, you know, high cases again, and it's looking pretty scary, man. I mean, knock on wood, you know, I hope we don't get a strict shelter-in-place order again, but it definitely looks like that's what's going to happen. But, you know, I'm going to do what I need to do for my family. You know, I want to stay healthy. I want them to stay healthy. So, you know, if you go outside, just, you know, maintain the social distance, keep your hands washed, keep yourself clean, and wear a mask, you know. And if you're going to wear a mask, go to lucha-masks.com and get you one. I mean, have you seen these guys, man? They're like a brush fire, man. They're spreading wildly, you know. So many people from AEW, NXT, WWE, CMLL, AAA. I mean, there's so many people wearing these masks and actually posting them on social media, you know, letting us know how great they are, you know, and they're great. You know, shout out to lucha-masks.com. Shout out to the good people of Pro Wrestling Revolution. You know, in this pandemic, you need the epidemic that is lucha-masks.com. You know what I'm saying? Did I say that right? I don't know. Whatever. So before we go into who's on the show today, I wanted to recommend some shows that I watched on a whim, you know, and if you guys got Netflix and you got time to spare, check out these shows, man. I'll tell you what, first and foremost, this is not my type of hype. You know, these shows, I don't normally watch these kind of shows. I just caught them on accident and I got hooked. I'll be honest with you. So if you got Netflix, check these shows out and talk to me, man. I talk back. Let me know what you think of the shows. Let me know if I'm off base or I'm tripping or if you like the show or whatever. The first one is called The Politician. The Politician is on Netflix. There are 2 seasons already. I encourage you to start with episode 1, season 1. It's got Bette Midler in it. It's got Gwyneth Paltrow in it. I think the kid's name is Ben Platt, the main character. But to make a long story short, it's a story of a kid who wants nothing more than to be president of the United States, and he starts his journey. You know, he's running for, you know, high school class president, and then, you know, he goes into politics after he gets out of high school. It's a cool little show, man. You might want to check it out. You know, start with episode 1, season 1, and I guarantee you, man, I think you'll like it. The other one is a telenovela. Now, I remember my abuela and my mom watching novellas back in the day, you know, but I mean, I never wanted to watch it at all, you know, so for me to get into this show is kind of weird. El Dragon on Netflix, man. It's a telenovela. it hooked me, bro. It hooked me. The easiest synopsis is, this guy, he's a financier, right? And he's on the straight and narrow, but his family is a part of a cartel. His grandfather is the leader of that cartel, and his grandfather's getting ready to pass away, so he brings the financier, Miguel, back into the fold and tells him he needs to take over the family business, and all kinds of crazy shit happens after that, man. So, I don't want to get too deep into that. There's two seasons, and dude, each one of those seasons is like 30-something episodes. What kind of season of a series has like 38 episodes for one season, man? That's like what? That's usually like maybe 3 seasons worth of content on regular TV. It's crazy. Anyway, I digress. Today on the show, we got pizza enthusiast, deathmatch legend, APW legend, XPW alumni, Lucha Underground star, king of Twitter, Vinnie Massaro. Vinnie Massaro's on the show. We're going to sit down and have a great discussion. Can't wait to get into that. But before we get into that, I'm going to take you over to the golden voice of the Lucha Central Podcast Network. That is Denise Salcedo with Lucha Central.
Hey everyone, it's Denise Salcedo here in Lucha Central with a look at all of the great shows available this week on the Lucha Central Podcast Network. In July, we'll debut our 4th monthly Monday series. So with no new show to kick off this week, now is your time to catch up on Lucha Libre Figures and Facts, episodes on Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero and Conan, the Mask Cast with Dos Hermanos Lucha, and their mask collection building tips and stories, and Business of the Business, including the latest episode with AEW star Colt Cabana. Tuesday, Mass, Mats, and Mayhem has never been afraid to tackle the issues and ask the tough questions. This week, the gang takes a look at women in wrestling, the Speaking Out movement, and the effect of Black Lives Matter on wrestling, as well as a deep dive rewind into Season 1, Episode 8 of Lucha Underground. Plus, La Mera Mera herself, Thunder Rosa, drops in to discuss being the first female Mexican NWA champion, Lucha Underground, and starting an all-female performer and female-run wrestling promotion in Texas. Also on Tuesday, WrestleBots with Fabi Chulo, live covering pro wrestling and MMA from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific. This week, Fabi is joined by co-host and up-and-coming luchadora Zeta Gonzalez, and their guests include legendary SoCal luchador Superboy Torres and Lucha Underground's Ricky Mendel. Head to WrestleBossLive.com to listen live or download it Wednesday across podcast platforms. Wednesday nights, live on Facebook, it's Spanish show La Mesa de los Márgaros, giving you both the news and the chisme from around the lucha world. This week on the show, the legendary Hugo Savinovich joins the table to talk about speaking out in Lucha Libre, Lucha in the time of the pandemic, and more. Watch live on Wednesday nights and then find the episode on your favorite podcast platform every weekend. Thursdays, it's Straight Out of the Bodega with Papo Esco. This week on the show, APW, XPW, and Lucha Underground alum Vinnie Massaro pulls up to talk deathmatches, Lucha Underground, the independent wrestling scene, and training Cain Velasquez for his in-ring debut in AAA. On Friday, it's your double dose of Lucha Central Weekly podcast. One in English y el otro en español. Lucha Central Weekly is where you'll find all of the top stories of the week, both inside and out of the ring from Mexico and anywhere luchadores are in action across the globe. With empty arena matches in Mexico, the Lucha Brothers returning to action in AEW, Santos Escobar dominating in NXT, and Rey Mysterio feuding with Seth Rollins on Raw. End your week every Friday by getting all caught up in 90 minutes. Be sure to subscribe and follow all of your favorite Lucha Central Network series on your favorite podcast platforms. And please be sure to give a rating and review to help more fans find the shows that you love. For now, this is Denise Salcedo signing off from Lucha Central Central. Have a great week.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of Straight Out of the Bodega. I am your master of ceremonies, the King FatBoy, Papo Esco, and as always, I got my partner in crime, my brother, owner and operator of Pro Wrestling Revolution and Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy, and owner and proprietor of Lucha-Mass.com, Gabe Ramirez. How you doing, man?
Papa, what's up, my brother? And I have a funny feeling that today is going to be the best podcast ever.
Well,
ever.
I'd like to think so. We keep outdoing ourselves, and today is going to be no different. I'm excited about this because,
Look,
not only is he someone that I feel like everyone wants to listen to, but he's a personal, friend of ours, and
of course,
and we're happy to have him on the show.
We just got to make sure, bro, that when next time you book Cholo, that you give him enough minutes on this freaking prepaid cell phone in order to stay on the call long enough for us to have a podcast. But, Vinny, I think Vinny should be good on this one.
Yeah,
let's see.
So today we have on the show a pizza enthusiast.
Yes.
A Lucha Underground superstar.
All right, that's a bit far, but go ahead.
A deathmatch legend.
Yes, I'll
take that one. Take that one.
And in my opinion, first ballot Hall of Famer, Vinnie Massaro. Oh, I forgot to say, innovator of offense. This dude, Vinnie Massaro, has some of the most innovative maneuvers I've ever seen, and he just keeps coming up with them. What's up, Vinny? How you doing, man?
Damn, Papo. Thank you very much, Bodega. I just gotta say.
Well. All right.
Now, Vinny, is it the IOV, right? The innovator of violence? Was that what it was?
No, that's Tommy Dreamer.
Oh,
That's Tommy Dreamer.
sorry. So you were the innovator of special finishers at the boot camp.
I was the innovator. Yeah, exactly. That's a prestigious job Roland Alexander gave me. I'm the innovator of moves that I take from Tekken and Mortal Kombat.
That's right.
I love it. I want to get right into this. I want to start from the beginning because I feel like your story needs to be told in somewhat of a chronological order. I know we might jump around a little bit, as the conversation unfolds, but I want to get started with this. When did you fall in love with wrestling, and how did that play a part into you getting involved in wrestling?
Holy shit! All right, we're going way back. Well, so I was born in Agrigento, Sicily. It's not a gimmick; it's a shoot. So when I was a little kid in Italy, in Sicily, growing up, you pretty much watch soccer. That's pretty much the only sport. But for some reason, I think they had like a thing going on back then where they would have on Saturday morning cartoons, they would show the Tiger Mask cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Tiger Mask.
After that, they would show New Japan Pro Wrestling for whatever freaking reason. Picture 4-year-old, 3-year-old, young little Vinny, watching Saturday morning cartoons and loving Tiger Mask. I freaking love that show. And then watching New Japan Pro Wrestling with Riki Chosu and watching Tiger Mask. Back then, I mean, just the crazy, just you think about it, that doesn't make any sense, but that's when I first fell in love with wrestling. And then when I got to, when I was 10 years old, my family moved over here to the United States. And, that's when, I started watching, I watched a lot of NWA back then, because I felt I liked more of that style. So I liked more of the, Great Muda and those kind of styles, but I watched a little bit of everything, and then I kind of got after that just you get a little older, you go to high school and you stop watching wrestling for a little bit. Yeah, it's not. It got kind of WWF, kind of WCW, just kind of it just
we all go through that. Yeah, we all go through that.
Yeah.
About what? No. About when did you decide you wanted to actually be a wrestler, and when did you where did you go? I know
APW, you went there, but was that your first training school or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, I mean, ever since I started, watching wrestling, I mimicked it. I would do power bombs and all kinds of crazy moves on, my stuffed animals or whatever that I had.
Wait. Hold on. Wait. You didn't move on stuffed animals? How old were you when this happened?
Oh shit! This is like when I was like
16?
like watching. Yeah, I wish. No, I had a wrestling buddy back then. Come on, guys, let's just keep it real. No, when I was 16,
it a bootleg version or was it a real one?
No. This was back in Italy when I was like
that's why I'm asking. Was it a real one?
No. They didn't have it back then. It was just like a regular like stuffed animal, like a teddy bear that I had, and I would just do wrestling moves on it.
Man, I would love to get pictures of little Vinny with a teddy bear.
We need that footage.
Yeah, doing an exploder on his little teddy bear.
I know, it was funny because I was just all watching New Japan back then, so I was just doing like all submissions and oh yeah, but I'm sure my mom has plenty of pictures of that, but I'm sure she threw them all away.
Maybe you threw them away. I don't think she threw them away.
No, trust me. If you know my mom, she threw them away.
So, Vinny, when did you say, it's time? I need to find me a school, and I need to do this because this is my calling.
Well, it's kind of weird. Like, after high school, just kind of working at a, just like a regular job. Didn't really know what I was gonna do. And then one of my buddies was like, "Dude, you gotta watch this." I'm like, "What?" He goes, You gotta watch wrestling. It's like, oh man, I used to watch it a long time ago. It's kind of dumb now, bro. No. There's this new promotion. It's fucking crazy. You gotta watch it. It's called ECW. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I looked at it and I was like, I can swear in this, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I was like, holy shit, this is the fucking coolest thing ever. And I remember just being like, I was like 16, and I was like, holy crap, I love wrestling again. And for literally, I like bought every shirt. I bought like every ECW shirt. I would just get like like the RF video, like fan cams of like every show. I used to know a guy that he had like one of those giant satellite dishes, so we would go over to his house like a Friday night and watch it because he had like the Florida Sunshine Network, and we would watch. Dude, I was hooked. Like anything I had to do on ECW, I was just the ECW mark from 100%. And then, of course, you start reading message boards because you can't, that's the only way you can get like results from ECW. And then all of a sudden we were looking and we're like, hey man, did you know there's like indie wrestling? I was like, the hell is indie wrestling? Like, what the hell does that even mean, right? And then we started looking up and we noticed that there's a promotion in, where I live, because I used to live over in Castro Valley, which was like 10 minutes from Hayward, California. And we're like, you know what? Let's go check out. And that was the very first. And they were like, I remember because Roland, he was doing Gym Wars. And he was like, if you like ECW, come watch Gym Wars. It's the same shit. I was like,
I must go.
And did you go check? You went and checked one out before you decided you wanted to?
Yeah, no, I checked out the Gym Wars, and I talked to Roland about it. He's like, can I get a ticket? He's like, sure. And he's like, and then, of course, Roland Alexander, Beyond the Mat, Roland Alexander. Hey, have you ever thought about becoming a pro wrestler? And I was like, yeah, I mean, when I was young. Well, did you know we have a school here? And I was like, yeah, nah, it wasn't really a school. I mean, to me, how would you, how would you know where to go to school back then? But, you don't realize, there's a training school. Well, then, of course, Roland reeled me in. He saw, he cast this little, his fucking fish, and he reeled me in, and the rest is history.
Well, what was the training like going in? I know, I know back then, we were reaching a point where the doors were kind of getting open to anybody, whereas it was so like close knit. You needed to know someone who knew someone in order to get in. And what was it like going in? Was it strenuous? Were you getting the shit kicked out of you? What was the training like?
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
So on that note, who were your trainers?
Let's see. The first day I was there was like Matt Hyson / Spike Dudley. He was like it was like his last week there. He was leaving to go to ECW, and Frank Murdoch was the one that was going to take over. But pretty much, as soon as I got there, they just beat the shit out of me. Like, there was, people don't know who Tony Jones is, but he's a very good amateur wrestler.
Yep.
Wrestled at San Francisco State University. He's about 6'3", like 250 pounds. Grown ass man. I will say that I lied and I told Roland that I was 18 when I wasn't. So it's a grown ass man. Basically, just they had him wrestle with me for like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at a time, and just beat my ass. And then they just basically they were breaking me, and then pretty much they were just they wanted. What I found out later on is that Roland was like, "Hey, this kid is never gonna make it, so just go ahead and like make him quit."
No.
Is that not what happened?
No,
you have a different perspective.
No, I'm pretty sure that happened. I'm just saying no because all the times that I bring this up, people look at me like I'm way out of line. So it's kind of I don't want to say it's good to someone back up your point, but unfortunately, what was that, Vinny? 96 for you? 95, 96?
Yeah, 96, 96,
So
97.
that was going on in 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, and until I left in 2008. And so I bring this up just because from the very first day we did our podcast, and I spoke about Roland, and I said that what I feel is my version of what I saw as far as truth per se. I mean, however we want to lay it out, and I got blasted at how I was, all these negative things. Well, and I just want to put it out there that this did happen. It was a regular thing.
Well, here's the thing: is like I heard the other shows, and the thing is that it's kind of hard for somebody to be like, this doesn't sound like the Roland I knew. Well, you guys got
the very sick Roland who didn't care no more. Oh, I love you. You're the best.
Right. You guys got the Roland that was trying to make up for lost times because he felt, I don't know what he thought in his mind, but I feel like he's like, you know what? I go, let's try to be a nice person, so I can have some sort of nice legacy. Because I'll tell you what, that is not the same person when I left APW and to what it is now. It is definitely not the same person. But let's digress. It's a whole, we could do a whole show about just Roland, but I feel like Gabe did a pretty good job at it. On the first episode that I heard, pretty much what Gabe was talking about was pretty much spot on because I lived it.
Yeah, and this like Vinny, this is a show where we tell truths, man. There's no PI about it. If you guys want to talk about it, that's fine. What I really want to know is the training. You said 97, 98, somewhere around there. I want to know, how strenuous the training was. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but I also want to know when you debuted because I think Beyond the Mat started in 99, right?
Starting taping?
Well, no. It came out in 99, right?
Yeah.
So that means that you probably. I was there already. I saw you in a lot of the footage. Just watching.
Yeah. So if you watch Beyond the Mat when they come through the gym, you can see me. I'm like little 17-year-old kid. I literally look at the camera when the whole time they're like, don't look at the camera, but I didn't give it, I don't know, whatever. I was an idiot. But yeah.
Such a greenhorn.
So that's at that time, that's when there was a lot of students. Like when I first there was me and one other guy, and then the other guy quit. So it was literally me by myself with like Vic Grimes, Donovan Morgan, Tony Jones, and there was a couple other guys, but they ended up quitting. But those were pretty much it. And those guys were already like pretty much, done with their training. Like Donovan was wrestling already. Vic was just about to have his pro match. Tony was about to have his pro match. So these guys were like, dude. And the problem is that Roland made everybody take beginners like over and over again. So these guys were doing beginners, and there's like, these guys are doing like power bombs, and they're like, they want to be with me, like trying to teach me how to lock up. They hate it. So obviously it was very rough. And plus, like I said, Roland wanted to basically get me out of there. I remember the second week I was there, we were like tearing. He made us tear down the ring and put it back up so we know how to do it. And I was standing on the top, and on the mat, the ropes were down, and Steve Rosano was on the other side. And he grabbed the mat and yanked it while I was standing on it, and I fell out, and I just just fell on the ground, landed on my hand, so I didn't know how to take a bump yet. Because the first week you don't learn to bump, you just do cardio and
to the stop sign and back.
Right. So then I landed and broke my arm.
Oh no!
I broke my arm the second week I was there, and I remember walking out. Like my dad picked me up, and I remember I had ice, and I remember walking out, and I came back in because I forgot my hat, and I remember Roland was like, "Whoa, that's it. He ain't coming back." And I grabbed my hat and just turned around in shame, just walking back. And then I think because of that, I was like, you know what?
I'm staying.
You. And I just I kept showing up. I even with a broken hand, I had a cast on, I still showed up. Just kept showing up. And honestly, the grace, the only thing that made me not quit was being friends with Vic.
Yes.
Vic was really nice to me because he would ask me a question about wrestling, and I would tell him, "Oh, you got to see this," and he's like, "I never heard of this guy," because lo and behold, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm a fucking wrestling nerd.
Oh, so, we know.
I know every literally people be like, "Hey, have you ever seen this promotion?" Oh yeah, I've seen this, and I can just spew out all these names and moves. So me and Vic, I had a collection of tapes, and I would show Vic all these tapes, and I would tell Vic, "Hey, what about this?" And it's "Oh yeah, it's a great," and me and Vic will sit, watch wrestling and come up with moves for him because I was nowhere near ready to wrestle. So we would come up with a bunch of these crazy moves, and Vic liked it, and Vic liked me. So he kind of basically was like, "Oh, you're gonna be my little brother." So there's still people out there that think me and Vic are actually related, which is funny.
Nice. So,
but yeah, me and Vic became really close.
So, Vinny, I want to know, man, when did you debut? And my other question is did you debut as a wrestler first? Because when we were doing the Tom Castor episode, he mentioned that you had done some refereeing. So,
right, yeah. So, after my arm healed, and I just kept going. Kept going. Really, I ended up becoming a really good bumper. So basically, bumper, for those of you who don't know, is the guy that takes the falls. So I was dumb and crazy, and I would just take the craziest. I would land on my head, on moves. I would just you suplex me, and I would just take a right on my head, and people were like, "Dude, you alright?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" Just killed, right? So they're like, "Okay." Everyone's like, "You know what? Let's put Vinny as a ref because he looks like he's a baby because I had no facial hair and I looked like I was, I was. Well, they thought I was 19, but I was actually 17. So, and they would just have every show I would ref a match, and every show a wrestler would just kill me. They would just do some kind of Vic would do this move, Mike Modest would do this move. I was always taking.
I remember. It got to a point that I think it was 97, 96, late 96, but I'm pretty sure it was more early 97. It was a battle royal. And literally when the bell rang, Modest ran to Vinny and gave him a head and arm. Right?
Yeah,
we're like, wait, what the hell? How does that work? Why would the first guy you go after, normally the big rib sometimes you dogpile one guy, the ring announcer, a ref, whatever. Nah, bell rang and Modest ran, head and arm. Boom. And if I remember correctly, Vinny, that's what started getting a lot of the fans into you because, let's be honest, not everybody at the gym or at Jim Moore's at the boot camp at that point in time were taking those bumps. It was very old school, drop down, get fraud, take it again, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you started taking these head and arms and you were landing incredibly sick bumps.
Right.
And fans were like, what the hell? So you started getting over because of your bumps. You were a very good referee, but no one gave a shit about that. They wanted to see you take bumps.
No, it doesn't matter.
That's what they wanted to see.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, back then at APW, it was like the first match was like two guys. It would be like Jason Clay versus Rick Turner, and they will go home with like a top rope crossbody. And like the first 5 minutes, it was like an 8-minute match. The first 5 minutes was literally tackle, take it again, tackle, drop down, take it again, tackle, take it again. Like and literally that was it. Like there was but it was good because it was, I'm not talking shit. I'm saying what they were.
That's what it was, though.
Like
that's what it was. Huh? That's all it was.
Yeah, and that's all. But it was like really good. Like you were like, holy shit, what? Back then you're like 97. It wasn't hitting quite yet, but I was like one of the first ones. Like, hey, do you guys know that there's this thing called All Japan Pro Wrestling and like All Japan Women's, and there's a lot of other shit going around. And that's when people were like, oh my god, there's this move and this move, and then and I started showing them. I had people started watching more tapes, and so So Black was what Gabe was saying is that. So yeah, the fans were like, "What kind of crazy bump is Vinny's going to take now?" So I kept doing that.
And Vinny, you were watching all these like Japan promotions, and I watched. And you were basically taking a lot of the stuff that they did over there, and you were applying it, in what you were doing then, right?
Right, because I wasn't a wrestler, so I wasn't like, hey guys, I wasn't coming up with any moves back then. I was just doing that with Vic, because Vic was the only one listening. But like in my head, like I had a notebook that I had like all these moves like that I would like I would think up. So like I would have this notebook that I would put by my bed, because every time I would go to like take a go sleep or whatever, I would dream of these crazy moves, and I would wake up and just write them down. And like I have this. I don't know. I'm sure I threw it away, but it's literally this book full of like half Nelson bulldog or just weird moves. You're like, what the fuck? And some of them will work, and some of them wouldn't work. But I mean, when you're watching everything, when you're watching like All Japan Pro Wrestling and All Japan Women's and New Japan and a little bit of Lucha and a little bit of Indies, you start to, your mind goes crazy. It's like if you listen to rock and roll music and heavy metal and a little bit of classic and a little bit of jazz and funk and pop, then you're gonna start experimenting with different kinds of genres, and you're gonna become a better musician yourself. And I feel like that's what made me a better wrestler.
And there was a point in time, Vinny, where you were, reffing, and then you would run to the back, get changed, and you would come out and, wrestle. And at one point in time, you mentioned Big Grimes. You were in a tag team with him, right? You were Little Dick Grimes. Is that correct?
Right. Well, see, right. So that's what my debut was. I was Little Dick Grimes.
Referee.
I was Big Grimes'. I was Little Dick Grimes. Was Big Grimes' little brother, and pretty much. I would ref because they didn't want to know who was under the mask. So I would ref a match, the intermission go change as Little Dick Grimes wrestle, then go back, change, and then ref the main event. Because the gimmick was that everyone knew who I was, but the West Side players wanted to prove it. Because if I did, I would get fired as a referee. Mm-hmm. Because I started helping out as a referee.
Because he wasn't biased. He couldn't be a down the middle referee.
Right. So I would just do both, and man, I loved it. Me and Vic as a tag team were awesome. We were doing a lot of cool moves, a lot of stuff, crazy stuff like that. I wish it would have lasted a lot longer than it did, but so things.
For what it's worth, Vinny, you were Little Dick then, and you're still Little Dick now.
Here
pretty
we go.
Much.
No,
but hey,
pretty much. No? Thank you,
Vinny.
Sorry.
I like that.
I
like to ask this question. Because I think it is relevant to any conversation. Is we all train, we all get in the ring, we all start working matches. Match 1, match 2, whatever the case may be. At some point, fireworks start going off, things start clicking. When. And what matches would you say you were in that allowed you to say, you know what, hey man, I'm starting to get this. I think I think I got this, and now I want to apply my creativity. Now I want to apply a lot of these moves I've been thinking of. I really believe that I can make a go at this, because I get it now.
Probably when I wrestled Boyce LeGrand. That was the first
98.
time that. Yeah, it was like after I stopped doing Louis Grands and I was wrestling as Vinnie Massaro. I was by myself. I wasn't, I was just, and the cool thing is that I was like opening match, second match. Nobody, there was no storylines to it. It was just me go out there and have a good match. And, we were just out there doing whatever the hell we wanted. And the good thing about Boyce is that Boyce was like me. He wanted to do something more. Like, Sometimes you got, it takes two to tango. So sometimes your dance partner just be like, oh, you know what? I just want to take it easy tonight. Because when you start doing, here's the thing: when you start doing crazy moves and bigger moves, as Gabe will know in Lucha Libre, the harder the move, the more crazy stuff you do, the bigger the chance of fucking up.
Right. Right.
So there's a lot of guys in wrestling that are afraid to fuck up. They are just afraid to have the fans realize you fucked up, to go in the back and have a wrestler go, man, that was shit. Me, I was like, screw it. I'm wrestling in front of 50 people. I'm not getting paid for it. I'm like 19 years old. I'm gonna probably wrestle till I'm like 50. Who gives a shit? So I will go out and I would just literally wrestle, and you're like, what the fuck was that? I'm like, I don't know, how do you look? Okay, scratch that one out. And then we're like, holy shit, what was that? Oh, this move I came up with. That looked awesome. All right, keep that one. And I had bad matches and I had good matches. But the thing was that with Boyce wasn't afraid to be like, yeah, let's do it. Other wrestlers were like, you know what, let's just do tackle spots instead. No, me and Boyce would go out and do crazy shit, and we were okay if it failed. But you know what? At least we tried.
So would you say he was the one that kind of, started the process? Because I also want to say that, I've always been of the opinion, and you actually told me this one time. So my opinion is kind of yours. Is you're not going to get any better unless you wrestle people better than you. So right. I know you and Boyce were probably on the same level, just going out there saying, fuck it, we're going to kill it, we're going to do some stuff people ain't never seen. But what type of matches would you say you had for people that were on a higher level for you, per se, that would have, helped along with the process of you actually starting to get the wrestling, in-ring psychology and what have you?
That didn't happen until I left my comfort zone. It was all good at Gym Wars. We were having good matches, but I mean, there's my opponents like Jardy France and Boyce LeGrand. They were awesome. They tore down the house. I had great matches with Vic. I had great matches with Tony Jones. I had great matches with Mike Modest. But it wasn't until I left and wrestled elsewhere, wrestled other people, that I realized, holy shit. I'm the one that has to lead this play. I'm the one that has to lead the match. I'm the one that has to, make audibles in the middle, and that made me a better wrestler.
Right.
By far.
Now, Gabe,
yes, sir.
From a promoter's perspective, and I don't want to say that per se because I think you were still in the training phase around that time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what was your impression of Vinnie in terms of, how he was picking up wrestling, how he was progressing, and did you see him as somebody that was going to actually, have a chance of making a go at this even back then?
Well, I mean, it's hard for me to say what I thought then, because what I thought then, I didn't know what I was seeing. So it'd be impossible for me to tell you what I saw at that point in time. But looking back and knowing what I know now, what made difference and what made Vinnie stand out from others, and I'm just saying standing out from those ones in front of him, for a small time, it was only really Vinnie and Vic Grimes that were pushing the envelope, if that makes any sense. Because, Vic Vic pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed to want to do some hardcore, but with some wrestling, some power moves. Vinny pushed to do the Japanese stuff. The problem is though, even though they pushed, they still needed someone to take the bump.
Right.
And Vinny didn't have nobody. I remember watching Vinny do matches without saying names with a certain wrestler. Vinny went for the head and arm, and the guy changed his mind and goes, no. And so, okay, so you can't see the head and arms, you can't see the kawatas, the kabashi, all the stuff he was, that we were watching. He knows what I'm talking about because they don't want to do it.
Oh no. Listen, this is my favorite story. I remember like the second time I wrestled as Vinny, right? I was there and I wrestled this guy named Bill Cole, right? And I remember, and I fucking do. I must have just been like, the fans must have just been like, what the fuck just happened? Cause like, so he's staying in the middle ring. And I gave him 2 forearms, and I fucking grab my arm like I'm gonna do the snoring elbow, and I spin, and I see, and he falls down. And I was like. And I was like, what the fuck? He's like, oh, I thought you were... And I go in the back, and it's like, well, dude, what happened? He goes, oh, you gave me 2 forearms, and I thought you want to give me an elbow drop. I'm like, what the fuck? I lost my mind. I was just like, oh my god, boy, when are you?
Yeah,
come here.
So
come
like,
here,
if it wasn't, someone, and it's not about age or anything, but someone young who had been exposed to younger stuff, as far as like ECW was pushing. Then you saw Vinny being able to do something like that. But if it wasn't with Vinny, he wouldn't be able to. Now, it doesn't mean that there was others that he couldn't do it with. I mean, at that point in time, we had a huge roster to say. But the way the company was run, Vinny had just debuted, and he was not going to wrestle Modest. He was not going to wrestle Crash and Rosano, none of those guys. And even though we had a small roster, Roland's theory is, I don't give a flying fuck about the opening matches. That's shit. Nobody came to see him. So he didn't care if it was Bill Cole and Vinnie Massaro over and over and over. Up until, Roland got on the message boards and fans were like, oh, man, that match was great. Roland started, letting go of the reins a little bit because Vic Grimes and Vinny were, I talk about both of them because for a long time they went hand in hand, is when Vinny started working Boyce, and he was allowing to, head drop him per se, right? And then Boyce was able to fly, and Vinny was catching him. That took a little bit of convincing Roland to go, all right, cool, let's open up a little bit more. And I don't want to say it inspired anybody, because I'm sure we had a lot of great workers that could do a lot of stuff, but I think it allowed them to go, hey, yeah, let's all push the envelope a little bit more, because God knows Modest could have, and Crash could have, and all these guys could have, but at that point in time, the product wasn't going that way. And then when Vic finally got the green light to do something hardcore, lucky for the boys, but unluckily for J.R. Benson. But J.R. Benson goes, go ahead, man, do whatever you want, I'll take it. And Roland goes, well, fuck it, he wants to take it, let him take it. So he throws him out there. And this was actually March 17th, 1997, is when Vic Grimes climbed the garage wall, the roll-up door, and he bailed onto a table. And that was like the first animated GIF in, indie wrestling ever. You know what I mean? And that took off. And when that took off, Roland's like, oh shit, we gotta do that more. All right, cool. You're gonna fucking kill Benson for, until further notice. All right. Let's have Vinny and Boyce work in singles, in tags, 3 ways, whatever he could. And then all of a sudden, now you got Modest doing his stuff, and then Max Justice, and
and then the thing that I know, like you guys, when I say this, you're gonna be like, well, what's the big deal? But to us APW guys, it's a big deal. When Roland invited Chris Daniels and Hardcore Kid in, that was like, holy shit, Roland, you're actually having somebody else wrestle
the
here?
Suicide Kid.
Right. Sorry, Suicide Kid, not Hardcore Kid. My bad. Hardcore Kid's way taller.
Yeah.
Suicide Kid.
Yes.
Suicide Kid and Chris Daniels. And they fucking they tore it up. Because, they were the same way. They were like the Modest and Robert Thompson of LA. And they tore it up. But the reason why Roland never did that is because if he did that, he would say, a bit in his way, oh, that's me saying that somebody else's training is just as good,
If
not better than ours.
Absolutely. And the worst part was, though, is the moment he had someone come in, for whatever it's worth, Daniels was not being driven in. He was being flown in. Right. So he had a paid flight, and he had a payout for gym wars. And what that caused was drama because all the boys are now asking, cool, where's my payday? And so then now Roland had to pay Modest and a little bit more, or then pay these guys. And it opened a whole kind of worms to a point where the ring used to be 22 by 22, and at one point it got 16 by 16, so Roland could fit more people in at Gym Wars, charge $20 a ticket, and draw 150 people, and he wasn't paying nobody. And so he would pay Daniels in his flight, and then that's when things started changing because people started kind of like, hey, where's my payday?
I don't know if anyone would like what I'm about to say, but like as shitty as that was, that's kind of smart on his part to shrink the ring to get more people.
Well, it was, but think about it though. How are you going to have a Vic Grimes who's like 340 pounds and Vinny, a big kid, trying to do an exploder and take one, but by the time you take one step, you're almost being thrown out the ring. So, and so he got greedy, but, it is what it is. He made his money. I'm not going to knock him on that.
Right. No, I mean, like, listen, there's been plenty of guys that have done that. I mean, you look at all those old and, all those old studio TV, AWA or all those, they all those rings are tiny. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, things will happen, but the thing that, Roland was just, Roland was Roland. Roland knew how to work. Like I say, his favorite saying was "Don't work a worker," and God damn it, he was right.
So, Vinny, I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about when you started venturing outside of APW. Specifically, I've watched a bunch of matches that you did and XPW. I mean, some of the death matches that you had with what is it, the Luke the Altar Boy and Altar Boy Luke and guys like that. You started getting into these hardcore style, these deathmatch style matches, and I really feel like a lot of them. I mean, I feel like you were in your element there. Some of your best work at that stage. Talk to me about when you started venturing out and when you picked up the hardcore deathmatch style.
All right, well, so I'm going to start because I love telling people the story. Because there's I know Gabe always tells his guys, be careful who you're around. You never know who, what the person next to you is going to be doing in 10 years, right?
Yep.
So I remember when the very first time roll APW, I was like 16 years old. I wasn't even a ref. I think I was just like barely starting to wrestle. No, I was 17 years old, barely starting to wrestle. And Roland went down to Bakersfield for the first time, and he went down there. I ended up wrestling Suicide Kid. But I remember just sitting down, minding my own business, and this guy comes up to me, and me and him would just start chatting, and I'm hella nice to him. He's nice to me. And we're just, super nice. And I was, because everyone else for some reason was just kayfabing this guy. I don't know why. Just leave him alone. Well, long story short, that person was actually Kevin Kleinrock. Mm-hmm. So, right when XPW started, Kevin Kleinrock's like, "Hey, Vinny, I remember you from Bakersfield." I was like, "Oh yeah, well, how you doing?" And because of that, he helped me. He always remembered who I was because I was nice to him, and he basically has helped me out so many times, and got me. And he's one of the reasons he called me up to go to XPW. And the thing with deathmatch wrestling, my wife hates it because obviously I get scarred up, but I just love it because one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is Cactus Jack, and he pretty much made his the stuff that he did in Japan with the hardcore stuff. I love,
right?
I absolutely love. And the fact that he can go and be that deathmatch guy, and then also a WWE guy, and then just, to me is amazing that he can do all those things. And like, I love Terry Funk. He's one of my favorites too. So to me, everyone just hated deathmatch and thought it was garbage wrestling. I freaking adored it.
But the thing is this though is in discussion, right now it's like what made you like wrestling? It's like, oh well, I grew up watching Tiger Mask cartoons and then watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then we go over to the APW boot camp, and we all know the method you would taught was the 70s, classic, lock up, headlock takedown, build up, toss off, tackle, drop down. We had that, and then the majority of your moves that you were doing were all Japan based. So how did you go from being a kid watching that style of wrestling, growing up seeing the ECW, but being trained one way? In APW, I never really saw you go in that direction, or let alone want to go in that direction. Why did you go into XPW? Now, is it because you were gone from APW? You say, you know what, I'm going to go XPW because that's what's out there? Or did you really want to do the hardcore?
Well, no, I mean, obviously there's XPW wanted me to, they booked me, so I went over there, but I wasn't like, I'm done with APW. I just want to do death matches. To me, I've always been one of the guys that, I'm not just going to do one style. I kind of want to be able to do like everything. Like I like those, I like the fact that like Misawa is my all-time favorite wrestler of all time. Like he's just by far the greatest wrestler to me. He can do no wrong. So to me, that the fact that he started as Tiger Mask, doing high flying, doing basically lucha libre style wrestling, then became Misawa. You know what I mean? To me, I always found that so cool that he was like, he's not just one wrestler just doing the same thing over and over again, that he changes, like Cactus Jack, Mankind, Mick Foley, whatever you want to call it. He went, he will go to NWA, wrestle a certain style, wrestle TV, and then go to Japan and just be like the hardcore death match, just barbed wire, all kinds of stuff. And I love that. And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to do all kinds of styles.
Right.
And I want to learn how to do all kinds of styles. And, I was like, fine, I'll try death matches. I was booked at XPW and they asked me to do it. It's like, you know what? And then I started doing it and I freaking loved it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the fact, just everything about it, just the excitement, the build-up, the storylines, the psychology of the actual match.
Okay, so I gotta ask, Vinny, like, okay, what do you remember your first match and what it was like going through that experience? I mean, God, you're going from controlled pro wrestling into an environment where you can get like seriously
Papa,
hurt.
When you say controlled pro wrestling, where'd you get that from?
Well,
what the hell does that mean?
Well, shit, dude. Let's talk about it.
Have you ever watched Lucha?
Let's talk about it. We are as safe as we can be in that ring. And if it's a traditional pro wrestling match, there's less in my mind. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's less in my mind of a chance for you to get hurt in one of those matches versus an uncontrolled environment, in my opinion. Where shit, dude, if you get hit in the back with a stack of light tubes, like I'm gonna be hurting. I'm gonna be bleeding. I don't know how that's gonna go. Like, there's more of a danger to it, and I just want to know what that experience was, and obviously the first match kept you going, so there was something there that made you want to keep going, right?
Yeah, it's just the reaction that I got from fans, and honestly, just the fact that I was, like, I don't know. To me, the fact that you can look at my career back and say Vinny's done this and this and this and this and this, it's kind of to me, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I dig that, and when you say controlled. I mean, yes. I mean, there is a higher chance of getting more hurt or more cut up with death matches. But honestly, to me, it's more, I've seen people get injured just doing tackle spots.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're a good pro wrestler and you know how to wrestle and you know how to control your own body,
Right.
And you make decisions. I mean, there's been plenty of times where someone's asking me to do something, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. That's too crazy. So there's, control. Even though there's blood and there's glass and barbed wire, it's to me it's still controlled on my end, on my aspect of it.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, because I've never been in a deathmatch, and I'm not sure that I ever will. I don't know.
Book it, Gabe.
Here we
Book
go.
it.
Well, I don't know if we can have a match like that at Controlled Pro Wrestling. So
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I can have
All
control.
right, guys, I'm gonna catch shit for this. God damn it. Whatever.
Control. Catch
There you go.
can. Control.
control.
I mean, you talk about
Control.
I mean, talk to me about the safety in the deathmatch environment. I mean, I don't understand it because I've never really done it. But I mean, if you want to take me through some of the, psychology, I mean, the things that would, be considered safe in that environment.
Well, I mean, here's a good question, Vinny.
Yeah.
Is there psychology in deathmatch?
Yes, of course there is.
How?
What do you mean how?
Well, I mean,
Okay, here we go.
I-
Okay, here we go.
you-
Okay, stop. I know
Okay.
where you're going
Okay.
with this. I know
Okay.
where you're going with this. I know
Okay.
where you're going with this. Okay, first of all, there's good deathmatch wrestling, and then there's bad deathmatch wrestling. What you guys are saying is those guys that the bell rings, ding, 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 they grab a light tube, hit it on their head. They do it, and it's back and forth. Everyone just hits something. That's bad. That's bad wrestling. You ever how many lucha libre matches have you seen where the bell rings, they hit each other and they run the ropes and they just do a spots, no sell, and
Right.
there's no psychology in that. There's good wrestling and there's bad wrestling. If you guys want, I can show you good psychology based deathmatch wrestling. And unfortunately, I might catch some shit on it, but most of it is in Japan.
FMW?
A lot of FMW,
Big
Big Japan right now. A lot of the stuff that happens around here in the States is literally just one guy. Okay, you hit me. Now you hit me. Okay, now your turn to hit me. Like, there's no psychology, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just one other. It's what it is another. It's fireworks. Like ooh, ooh, but there's no storyline to it. In Japan, they have a story behind it. They tell you a story behind it, where the last move is the best move, and when the final bell hits and the final 1, 2, 3 of that match, you actually feel like, oh my god, that was a good match. Not, oh my god, that was a cool spot. That was a cool spot.
Okay. So, what were some of your best matches in terms of death matches? I just got to ask. I've always been infatuated with that.
With death matches?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Some of your best.
It's some of my best.
You see how quickly they come off top of his head?
Right? Okay.
You guys, motherfucker. Well, I don't know why you guys hate death matches.
I'm not
No,
saying
I
anything.
don't.
I'm just saying, look how quickly they came off your head. Oh, my best
I
death
don't.
match. Hold on. Google.com/XPW.
I don't hate death matches. I'm really interested to know what some of your
Vinny,
your best ones
were you working with Hoovy as your tag partner only, or did you do death match with him?
There you go.
No. I did tag matches with Hoovy, and then I just did the King of Death match with against Luke.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I did the death match with Luke was pretty good because we didn't just go out there and just beat each other. We actually had a match.
Right. I saw that.
And we used the death match stuff. But I did I've had some matches down in LA. Some death matches that was kind of fun. For XPW, those were and then SPW. I used to have some good death matches at SPW. That was pretty fun.
I got you.
But as far as anything I don't get too crazy. I don't go super insane with the death matches because obviously, I would like to have a longevity in it. But maybe I do enjoy. I don't mind doing it. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Well, let's switch gears again. There was a point in time.
I've been trying. Ask Gabe. I've been trying to get me versus Bestia hardcore match at Revolution.
And you can see,
I would
and
like to see
you
that.
can see how.
I would like to see
Yeah,
that.
and you can see how quickly I booked it.
Yeah, exactly. It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Gabe
Can't even
hates-
be unsanctioned.
Gabe,
Unsanctioned.
Gabe
Yeah,
hates.
it could be
it'll never happen.
unsanctioned somewhere else. It won't be
somewhere else. It'll never. Gabe
we can
hates.
book that match.
Fucking
We can book
hates.
that match at Control Pro Wrestling. I'll be there.
There you go.
Exactly. Papa's gonna start his own promotion. Control Pro Wrestling.
Control.
I'm gonna make. You know what? I'm gonna make a shirt. I'm gonna make a shirt.
Control.
I might as well. Oh man,
Take
I'm gonna
control.
catch so much shit
Control.
about that. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Gabe,
Yes, sir.
there was a point in time where you decided that you were gonna leave. All pro wrestling.
March
you wanted to
2008.
go out, and you wanted to go out and venture out
This is really. I've never heard this story before.
on your own. And Pro Wrestling Revolution was born. When did you start booking Vinny? And Vinny, take me through your time with Pro Wrestling Revolution, working as Vinnie Massaro.
Vinny and I, when Vinny broke in APW,
Come on.
I
Say the
broke
truth.
in late 96, early 97. So when there was the big split between Iron and APW, Vinny was that floating bubble between who wanted to be on both ends because he had too many friends on both sides and didn't want to have any. Well, me being young in the business and seeing the opportunity for me, I didn't see both sides. I saw one side. I was pro APW, and that's it. I follow the
Right.
rolling rule of either you're with me or you're not. If you're with me, if
Or
you're,
you're against
if you're
me.
with me, cool. If not, you're against me. So Vinny was like, "No, I'm gonna be on both sides because my trainers are over there, but my brothers and friends are over there." Because majority of the boys went over there. The ones that stayed, the only one of the main boys that stayed was Robert. The rest was just students and us. So Vinny and Vinny and I had we kind of had a falling out for a good amount of time.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Here's the deal. So right when Iron started and APW was kind of splitting up, right?
And that's
So
Vinny. That's Pro Wrestling Iron, right? Michael Modest and Donovan Morgan. They went.
So
Okay.
pro wrestling Iron, they're like rolling. I was basically after King of Indies, right? So everyone's like, okay, we're done. There's going to be Pro Wrestling Iron. There's going to be APW. Everyone decide where you want to go. And I was like, I'm actually going to take a year off of wrestling. And they're like, no, bullshit. No, you're coming to APW. You're coming to, no, everyone's like, no, you're going to, Roland's like, you got to come APW. I'm like, I'm not coming to APW. And Mike Monster, Chloe, you're going to come Iron. I'm like, I'm not coming to Iron either. I'm taking a year off. He goes, for what? He goes, my wife is pregnant. So what I decided to do is take a year off of wrestling to have, I went and had to get an actual job for number one. And then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take care of my son for a year and just be with him and not having to like drive in the middle of the night because, we got to tear on the ring, 3 hours away. I was like, you know what, I'm staying home. And I did it. I stayed home. I didn't wrestle. I didn't talk to anybody and do shit. And then when I came back, Gabe loves the story. This is the greatest. Gabe loves this fucking story. I know it already. So when I come back, I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back. I was like, I'm gonna come back to wrestling. So first place I go is APW because that's where I go in there and Robert's the trainer and American Dragon's there and Daniel Bryan and I was like, hey, where's Roland? And I was like, hey, Roland, I want to show you a picture of my son.
Oh wow!
And Roland goes, and I go, Roland, I go to give him a hug, right? And he puts his hand in my chest and pushes me away, and I was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I want to show you a picture of my son. It's like, and I stick my hand out, and he goes, I don't know whether to shake it or spit on it.
Wow!
And I was like, seriously, Roland? Like it's like, well, you left. I'm like, yeah, I had a baby. No, you went to Iron. Like, no, dude, I did not go to Iron. Like, I was at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, fuck it then. And it's like, you're not allowed. And there was like a sign, and my picture was on there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there was a picture.
Wait a minute.
There was
Pause.
hold on. There was a picture.
Pause.
Pro Wrestling Iron had a website, and they had like a powwow where everyone came to check out the place, and Vinny was in the picture. So was Rosano, so a bunch of people. So someone printed that and put it in the office lobby window. If you see these people, they are not allowed in the building. And Vinny was in that picture. So,
and I saw that picture, and I was like, Roland, well, you went to. I saw you. You went to I went to Irons. Like, yeah, Roland, that's Mike Modest. He's my trainer. Like, I can't. He invited me to go look at his gym. I can't. I just went to go look. Like, okay, I go. If you're not a wrestler, you don't know. Like, Papo, you can attest. You can just back me up on this. There's a difference between, you and a fellow wrestler relationship versus you and your trainer relationship.
Right. That is true.
Like who was your first trainer? Robert Thompson?
No, Gabe.
Okay, well, obvious, perfect. You and Gabe, like, even if Gabe tomorrow, like, just doesn't do anything with wrestling, you're still gonna be like, Gabe, hey man, how you doing? Let me talk to you. Let me say hi.
Absolutely.
Because he's your trainer.
Right.
Like, same thing with, like Mike Modest. I mean, second to him, like, just being like, well, fuck you, I hate you. I'm still going to be, not loyal to him, but I'm still going to be like, hey, that's my trainer. Right. Like,
no, I totally
owe him a lot.
Yeah, I totally get that.
So like when Roland just kicked me out, and I was like, well, fuck, I'm just going to go to Iron, and then, I went to Irons, like, hey, man, I was like, thank you, come back, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to train? I was like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I have a kid now. Like, I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, if you train, some good things are gonna happen because we're gonna have this solid conversation.
When do I start?
And I was like, yeah, sure, dude. I'm like, that's when I was like, yeah, I'm gonna help. Fuck it.
Now, on that note, Vinny, when we had Dave Dutra on here, he said while he was at Iron, he said it was the absolute fucking living shits there. People, like you said, Donovan, I think if I remember wrong, you said Donovan was drunk a lot or never there. People spitting tobacco all over the place. Is that something similar that you came across while you were there?
That's the thing. I never met Dave.
Okay.
When Dave was there, I was gone.
Okay.
Well, just hold on, Vinny. Wait.
Okay, but are you asking me if Donovan Morgan was drunk? Yeah, pretty much.
Well, no, I think what he's asking is because we had a student, Gabe, right?
Hold on, I think I just heard a beer can open somewhere.
We had a student, Gabe, that came from Iron, right?
Yeah, we actually had a student came from Iron. I will not say his name because he's very private about his life.
Nope.
But when he came from Iron, the first thing he tells me, he goes, "Yeah, man, I wrestled for a while, blah blah." And long story short, he goes, "I trained at Iron." I go, "Who was your trainer?" He goes, "Well, it was supposed to be, this guy and that guy, but ended up being this guy and that guy." But then he mentioned that when Donovan was there, that Donovan was drunk a lot and kicking shit around and just being, to what I know, just Donovan.
I mean, so when I got there, pretty much they were like, oh, Donovan and Mike are going to train, but then their Noah, their tours got way more and more. So pretty much the trainers were me and Seth, which is Simon Gotch. Simon Gotch, Ryan Drago.
Right.
Those were me and him were pretty much the two trainers at the time. Of him. Right. And then Frank was trying to help, but
but I'll bullshit aside though, Kelly or Frank was good. I think Frank was a good trainer. I just think by that time Frank was done. I think he just didn't care.
Yeah, but here's a problem though, is that as you can't have a bunch of wrestlers running a business. It's just shit doesn't happen.
So it's not for the boys, by the boys.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Yeah. Right? I mean, I'm sure they meant well, but at the same time, they needed someone there 100%. And I mean, honestly, I think Mike would have been like the best one out of all of them.
Yeah.
But I think is that Mike had himself. He had a wife and 2 kids at a time, and Noah tours.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When obviously the Iron split with APW, and I've thought about this, because I was there for so long, and it always crosses my mind. When that split happened, brother, I mean, all the marketing, all the graphics, design, high tech shit stayed with APW, and then and I'll say it, but that besides Robert staying with us, all the the talent, besides Robert, who chose to stay, left. And so Iron had Misawa and Ogawa and just some really cool shit. But it's almost like saying if a tree fell down in the forest and no one was there to hear it, did it fucking really fall? I know that if we would have stayed together and we would have had Noah or Misawa come together on both sides, I think it would have been a much bigger deal. We would have had bigger stuff happen. But,
of course. But that would have never happened. That would have never happened.
The actual outcome, was it Mike Rowland? Was it Mike behind the scenes pulling the strings on Donovan and Rowland? Because ultimately it came down to Rowland. Every time Rowland and Mike fought, that was a major thing. It was always Rowland and Mike. But then Mike said, "Fuck it, I won't live at the gym no more. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna do something else." Right? But ultimately, the breakup happened. Why? What happened? Why could we have not stayed together? What made it finally split? Because Mike didn't want to start a promotion. All Mike wanted to do is have a fucking ring and train. Because being in Noah, these guys could not go wrestle in Noah and not have any ring time. And then it turned into a company. What happened? Like on your end, I know what happened on the APW side as far as what I was told. And then from being on the inside, because we were on different sides. You're with the boys, I'm with the company behind the curtain. So what happened?
I'll have to think about it because that was so long ago. But I think it just ended up being where Mike. Okay, so the reason why Misawa showed up for the tryout was not because of Roland; it's because of Mike. Mike had.
You can go further than that. It wasn't because of Mike. It was because of Ed Schumann. It wasn't because of Mike. It was Ed Schumann.
Okay, but why did Ed Schumann called?
So
Mike.
right there, that's where the problem lays. Because Roland would say, Ed Schumann told Mike, and Roland said, well, so what? Mike's my guy. I pay him. He's my trainer. He's my wrestler. So I brought Misawa. So
right, and that's fine. But that's when it gets fucking weird.
Exactly.
Because Ed. Okay, so Mike was getting booked in the Midwest.
Yes.
Roland had no fucking clue who Ed was.
No.
So Mike was getting booked in the Midwest, and Ed saw a tape of Mike. And this is where Roland was always fucking weird about it, right? So let's say I've wrestled at Gym Wars against Boys the Grand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's at Gym Wars, and somebody orders an APW Gym Wars tape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sees me and Boys Legrand wrestle. And they go, oh my God, you guys are amazing. I want to book you for a show. Roland's like, that's because of me. And I was like, what do you mean, Roland? He goes, well, I gave you the platform at Gym Wars that you guys got booked because of me, so you owe me 30%. I'm like,
wow.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's the honest to God truth.
Wow.
He is being upfront. He's not even pulling a punch. That is very, very true.
I go, Roland, that doesn't make sense. I'm the one, it's not like you sent him the tape. It's like I'm the one, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, hey, I watched you at this show, so I'm the reason why you guys got booked. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. But that's how Roland thought.
Yeah.
So Roland's like, hey, you trained at APW, Mike Modest. Misawa came to my gym because that's where the gym was available. So I'm the reason why Misawa came to the United States, and that you guys are the reason, and I'm the reason why you guys are booked in Noah. And Mike's like, no, that has nothing to do with you, Roland.
Well, now, without even going deep, I want to touch on this. I know, Papo, I'm sorry if I'm taking off from your script.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
Okay, here's a perfect example.
Hey, Papo, this podcast is not very controlled.
This is nowhere near what the guidelines of Control Pro Wrestling podcast is supposed to be.
God damn it, I hate you guys.
God dang, no control in this place. Well, okay, so now we have Modest, Donovan being livid, Bison, because Modest, Bison, Donovan all left to Noah. Roland says, I did it. Jardy France went. Jardy came back. They got rid of him because he was dopey or whatever. He was always, I don't know.
Well, there's other stories that I
I know. I don't want to say. I'm trying to say he's dopey because without going into what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that. Okay. So Roland says they trained. They had their tryouts at the boot camp. I paid for the Olive Garden. I paid for the limo. It's mine. I'm just telling you what it is. It's
which is
mine.
ridiculous.
Which is ridiculous. But Marty says no. Ed Schumann booked me. Ed Schumann gave me the call. Told me that I'm having a red eye. This is what we're doing. So then it played this role in this business, and it gets fucked up. Who's responsible for what? Instead of just saying, "Hey, we did it together," it came down. Roland always needed to have.
But that was a problem.
Right.
That's why it's not like Mike left. Like, screw you. You got to give me this. No.
Well, Donovan did.
Yeah, well,
Donovan stole the belt, and then Roland. Well,
Donovan doesn't have a brain for himself. He just does whatever.
Here's my point. So we had all that drama, right? But this is not the first time we had the same scenario with different persons. Because
sounds very familiar to what you went through, right?
Well, correct with me, and then also with Vic Grimes and Crash.
Right, because that's exactly what happened with Vic Grimes.
Same thing happened. Is Jared Benson was kind of like RF video, handheld stuff.
This is very timely. By the way, this is very, very timely.
Yes, it is. It's very timely
because because you know how everyone always talks about how right now the thing is that Jim Cornette made all the wrestlers at OVW sleep with his wife, right?
Oh my god.
That's the rumor that's going around, right? So basically, what happened is that Jim Cornette was friends with J.R. Benson and Ron Head. With Jim Cornette, because Jim Cornette was in some crazy shit. So
you guys know Ron Head was APW's ring announcer, and J.R. Benson will record handheld footage in order for him to make crazy, stupid videos for ISW or whatever they were doing.
So they were so they wrestled at Incredibly Strange Wrestling and then Extremely Strange Wrestling. And they would send all these videos, like they will make like Cornette like once a month, like these crazy best of videos. Which, by the way, I have seen. I've seen.
You're the one that saw it.
I have seen these best of videos, and holy shit, Jim Cornette is into some crazy shit.
Wow.
I've never saw him.
Oh, dude, okay. Let's put it this way: about 50% wrestling and 50% just crazy. And I'm like, holy shit, is this illegal? Like, what the fuck? Where'd you get this? It's like, oh, it's literally the craziest shit you've ever seen in your life. So, keep going with this. So then, obviously, Stacy then married Jim Cornette. But basically, one of these videos featured, hey, Jim Cornette, you seen some crazy shit? Because they would send him like he would send him like FMW tapes of like just dumb, backyard shit. And it's like, hey, Jim Cornette, watch what I did. I got fucking this giant Vic Grimes guy kill me. But let me show you the whole match within Vic Grimes and Crash Holly. So Jim Cornette's like, well, goddamn, these guys can't fucking wrestle. And then gave him a tryout. And that's how they got the tryout. But Roland was like, hey.
Okay, there we go. So,
Roland,
they gave the phone call, and I swear to God, when they got the phone call, Roland says the APW boot camp made that happen, and then that's when another split happened. Ron Head, Peter Hines, Stacy, Brenda, Gina, Rosano, which all of them were like, wait a minute. The friend of a friend sent the video. You didn't do anything with. No. I don't care if I didn't send the footage. I paid for the VHS tape.
No,
I let him come in my booking. It was my booking. It was my idea. I got you WWF.
Right. It wasn't even that. It was, hey, it happened at the AP. It's an APW footage. So I need to get 20% of everything. And
that meant 20% of their WWF contracts.
Right, and Crash is like, fuck you.
Well, all bullshit aside, Vic said, nah, man, I ain't giving you shit. You know what I mean? It was the same thing.
I was there.
Yeah,
I was there. I was there when Vic punched him in the face.
Oh, my God.
I was there. This is great.
Why do you have to say that, though?
No, we're talking about it now.
Right.
Whatever. I was there because Roland go. So I'm sitting there, right? Because me and Vic we're brothers. Roland's typing up something, and he goes in his file cabinet because Roland's an accountant, so he has a file cabinet. He pulls out, Vic's real name. Goes, here you go, and he slides it. And he goes, you signed this. in 1995 says that if you ever get signed, if I have something to do with it, and I was like, and Vic's like, you're rolling, but you didn't have something to do with it. Goes, well, you signed it. So Vic grabs grabs the paper, crumples it up.
And throws it.
This is like literally like, if I see this, like I can see it in my head like it was yesterday. He crumbles it up.
Wow.
So he makes a fist with it, and his fist has the fucking paper like a cartoon, like when like it's like, hey, give me back my thing, and it's got like the paper wrapped around his fist, and he punches.
Oh my God.
He punches Roland.
fucking
paper, and I'm like, oh my God. And then the best thing, he jumps on top of him like an MMA fighter and starts punching Roland, and Roland looks at me and goes, Vinny, help. And Vic looks at me and then
Vinny goes, fuck you, asshole. You broke my hand when I was 19.
Fucking Vic looks at me and goes, Vinny, jump in. I know you want to. And I was like, what the fuck do I do? And then Robert comes in and like hugs him and like, he's like, move it, get off of him.
Robert goes, what the fuck, man? TJ just fucking beat up Roland. I was like, what?
Right. So and then TJ is gone, right? And then Vinny, TJ, Vix goes, come on, Vinny, let's go. We go, and then
let's go to Prince.
We go to his house. I come back a week later, and Roland's like, hey, are you seeing? Well, Vic Grimes is gone. You can go with him, or you can stay here. I'm like, what do you mean? What the fuck? I had nothing to do with it. Well, if you're gonna stay with him or APW, you're no longer to be his friend. I was like, fuck, like, come on, dude, really?
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, that was very common. So now you have footage of two guys getting signed in WWF, which he made an issue out of, and then the Noah situation where again it's blurred lines. This also happened with the Embassy expose. So this is something that happened a lot. And so that's the thing though. Roland was great in the fact that he started something, no matter what the reason why he started it. We all got opportunities to grow to where we're at now. But holy shit, complete control. Papa would have been great there in Control Pro Wrestling. He would have been great there. But oh my God.
So like,
shirts and pro wrestling tees coming soon.
So like, here's the thing, like, everyone says, like, what do you mean he Roland was in control, wanted control? Like, perfect example. This guy, like, started, like, me and boys started getting, like, me and Vic Grimes. I remember me and Vic Grimes were, we started getting, like, popular. Like, people were like, holy shit, these two guys are fucking crazy. Let's, I remember this guy in New York wanted to book me and Vic to come out and wrestle one of their tag teams. And Roland's like, oh, no. You got to book Mike Modest and Donovan Morgan instead.
Wow.
Oh, that happened remember when they were Scoop Slammed, the website?
Yeah, he wanted me and boys, but then Roland's like, no.
Max Justice and boys. Yeah.
And I was like, but he asked for me.
I remember I was in the office. We had the booking meeting, and I go, but why not Vinny? And first I was told, shut the fuck up. Who the fuck are you? You fucking Mark. And I was like, okay.
Right.
But I even though I'm a fucking Mark, but I'm in the booking meeting, but okay, whatever. I'll just sit here. You know what I mean?
And you're a Mark, but hey, can you do me a favor and do all the work?
And so it got to an ongoing thing. And so what gets me though is we learned what to do, what not to do, but we were all groomed in an era where getting spit on and knocked down and shit was the norm.
Wow.
And I'm not saying it's okay, but
no. See, here's the thing. Hold on.
Speaking for me, I didn't know any better. I didn't know where else to go. I don't know what else I could do.
No, that's the thing. Here's the thing. Everyone now is like, so what? Like, you don't get along with somebody, move on. Okay, well, back then, like, if I told Roland, hey, I'm no longer in APW, either I go to Big Time Wrestling, which was in Newark, or I would have to literally move to a different state to go train somewhere. It's like, so when people say, oh, well, what does that mean, like, blackballing you? Because, well, back then, you can actually get blackballed. Like, if Roland told me, hey, Vinny, you're no longer allowed in APW, that meant I was pretty much blackballed.
Where are you gonna go? Yeah, right.
It's not like here where, like, it's like, hey, Vinny, you're blackballed from Revolution. Okay, I'll just go wrestle at the other 45 under indies in the area.
Control Pro Wrestling.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like back then, like, if you were blackballed, you were literally blackballed. It's the way it worked. So,
Wow.
not.
I mean,
nowadays it's
a
little
perfect example
different.
of that is when we talked to Big Ugly. He said, he had to start his own promotion just to get work and start something because Roland had cut all that stuff off. And so Roland did have that power. Roland's mentality, that he got groomed by Roy Shire and so on. But at that point, I don't even know because later on in years, a lot of the stuff that Roland, told me about Shires ended up not being true because his brother put him on blast. The most famous story of all about babysitting The Rock, that wasn't true. So
I think if I can be honest with you, I think Roland was Roland. Roland. Everyone. If you knew Roland Alexander, you would know that he was like Dave Meltzer's number one fucking subscriber. So I think when Roland's
you're so stupid.
This may sound like a dick, but whatever. I don't care.
Oh man.
When he says that he was there, I almost believe that he fucking read half the shit from the Observer.
God damn it.
Come on, Gabe, help me out. Tell me I'm wrong.
There were some times he would say stuff. I had to go, wait a minute, dude. That doesn't coincide with some of the other shit you said.
I go,
you know
what?
I mean?
Oh yeah, that's how I go. Roland, you just read that on the Observer. That's not. No.
He would say, "No, that's not what I heard." Huh? How did you hear? Well, I heard.
Oh,
that,
I know.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I read that like on fucking Woo Wrestling. Like, you're saying the same thing I just read.
It'd be like if I say, hey, listen, guys, this is how wrestling works. Because I know I lived it. I'm like, what do you mean? I experienced it. I remember when I was. I'm like, no, dude, that sounds like shit that you read on the Chris Jericho biography.
Vinny's like, yeah, I was there when Bruiser Brody wrestled in Puerto Rico. I was there in the shower with him. What?
Oh man! Hey guys, I fuck, these stories are awesome, dude. But I want to get back on track here because we got a lot of ground to cover.
Sorry, we're not on track. We have no control.
Yeah, sorry, we got to get back in control. I want to talk.
How long are these podcasts?
2 hours. We can go part 2. Fuck it, just keep going.
So what I really wanted to talk about before we got on this whole great conversation was Pro Wrestling Revolution, right? You started working for Pro Wrestling Revolution. I wanted to say,
I got a great story about that.
Right, we can get into that, but I wanted to. What I was going to was the tryouts that Pro Wrestling Revolution had at the Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy for Lucha Underground. So I wanted to talk to you about your initial working with Gabe as Pro Wrestling Revolution.
Before you go in there, Papo, it wasn't tryouts for Lucha Underground, though. See, when I got approached to do these tryouts, it was for Lucha Libre AAA USA. And so I was going to be working with the team, again, with Kevin Kleinrock, who has his hands on everything in this business.
Right.
Well, I was going to be working with him on taking part in AAA USA. And I go, it's great. We're going to do tryouts, and they're going to be doing shows here, and I'll be the local promoter as far as getting ring and whatever, right? And then by the time it got on board, it turned into be Lucha Underground. And so then we quickly backtracked it to tryouts for this. But I don't remember if we called it for AAA USA or we called it Lucha Underground. We were just doing Conan tryouts, and that's what we went into. But by the time Conan arrived, that's when he said what it was for, which at that point in time was going to be Lucha Underground.
To me, when I heard about it, it was just going to be for AAA.
Yeah.
Like, actually, the AAA in Mexico. So I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to get that. but I was like, might as well just do a tryout so he can show, he can see me. So that's all I was thinking. That's the gods on the shoe. You can ask Gabe. I'm like, dude, I'm just doing this tryout just to
see what happens.
Just see what happens.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way I'm getting any of this shit.
But no.
Wait. Hold on. Yeah, right. Hold on. Tell Gabe the first. So after APW and Revolution started, and I was like, oh, Gabe started Revolution. That's cool. Like, I remember, I would see him, and I was like, hey, brother, how are you? Like, we were cordial, but we were never, because me and Gabe used to be tight, really close friends.
Yes.
And then once the whole APW Iron thing stopped, part of it, I mean, I'm not going to lie, part of it was the whole thing, well, he was like, APW, you're against us. And the other part was like, dude, I have a kid, the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't got time to hang out no more. You know what I mean? So, but when he's, and then afterwards we started talking, and it's kind of funny when you get burnt by Roland, you're like, hey, I remember you. You got burnt by Roland too.
Brothers, we love each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not like that, but I'm sure Gabe was like, oh, I kind of see what Vinny was talking about.
You are 1,000%, because when I was towards ready to leave, Vinny, I remember Jason Dedrich. For many who hear the name Jason, who had a huge part in all of this as well, but I think he's kind of just bowed out from wrestling as a whole. But Jason called me on the conference call with Michael Modest, and I was like, "Oh fuck, what's this for?" And Mike goes, "Hey, what's going on?" I told him I wanted to leave and so on, and then Mike was telling me stories. I was like, holy shit, those are happening to me now.
Sounds very familiar.
Holy shit, Mike, this happened to me, this and that. And Mike goes, yeah, and this and this. And I'm like, what the fuck? So, and this is something I never share with anybody, but I'm not saying Mike pushed me that direction, but everyone who I talked to who had issues, and I left because of Roland's business tactics, but his personal tactic of jealousy pushed me over. And then talking to Mike, I was like, oh my God, dude, so he did the same thing that I'm going through. This shit's not going to change.
No. Until someone, until he realizes, holy shit, there's nobody left.
Yep.
Wow. But so I think, part of it was Gabe was like, oh my God, yeah, it's, I kind of understand because I'm doing the same thing. So we would talk and be like, hey man, how you doing? And I remember I asked him, like, hey man, if you ever need anybody for like a show, it's like, honestly, Vinny, I would love to, but I'm a Lucha Libre promotion. And I was like, okay, I understand. And Gabe, okay, I can't, this is going to sound hella weird because obviously in hindsight, I was a fucking idiot. And I was like, 100% get it, Gabe, because I fucking hated Lucha Libre back then.
It's an acquired taste.
Oh my God, did I hate it. I thought Lucha Libre was like the most non-selling, non-psychology wrestling in the world. And the reason is because just like how you guys are like watching the crappy deathmatch wrestling, I was probably watching really bad Lucha Libre matches.
Right.
I was watching like the stuff that, you see like, the fuck is this? Like, and dude, they're just literally just like locked, they're just staring at each other and the guy just starts running the ropes. And he took a pile driver and he's getting right back up. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Well, that's kind of like indie wrestling now, right?
Exactly.
But even from the beginning of Pro Wrestling Revolution, though, it wasn't like a traditional Lucha Libre company. You had like a hybrid, man. There was American style incorporated.
Well, that was my goal, and I remember when Vinny wanted to come on board, Rick Luxury hit me up and he asked me, he goes, "Hey, boss," he says, and this is my Rick Luxury impersonation. "Hey, boss."
It's the best Rick Luxury.
Just so you guys know, just so you know, while I am talking, my eyes are crossed. Okay?
Oh no,
hey,
no.
That's fucked up.
Hey, oh wait, you can say TJ Punch Roland, but I can't say Rick. Oh fuck that.
Shout out to Rick Luxury. We love him. We love him.
Rick says, "Hey, boss, Vinnie Massaro bet me $50 that I can get him booked on Revolution." I said, "Well, you fucked up."
Which is true.
I go,
Which is true.
I go, "You fucked up. He's not booked." "Why, boss?" I said, "Because, dude," I go, "it's not Lucha. All I remember was Vinny doing hardcore when he left, and then he was doing this fucking Italy gimmick Godfather shit in Sacramento, which I wasn't a fan of." I was like, "Well, how's he going to fit? What we're doing here?" So lo and behold, long story short, he did one show with me in San Francisco, and I remember I could tell it wasn't my brother. It was just Vinny going, "Okay, I'm here. I'll do what you want me to do." And then
because everyone was like, I mean, I think I knew JJ and I think Oliver, and that was it.
Yeah, and I had a tag match that was absolute shits. I gave them
the Commandos.
Oh my God! Why do you keep saying fucking people's names, dude? Jesus,
dude, bro, I've been wrestling for 25 years. Like, who cares?
Okay,
what am I gonna get burned? I'm gonna get blackballed when I burn a bridge. Like,
and so, I had an issue with the match, and then I went to Vinny and I go, "Vinny, am I wrong here? Like, talk to me." And I could tell Vinny wanted to tell me the truth, and he goes, "Oh, I don't know, bro." He's like, "I'm just here to wrestle." I was like, "This motherfucker." I was like, "Okay."
It was and okay. Here's the thing: it was bullshit because there was like 7. Because Gabe keeps his shows about 2.5 hours, and there's about 6 to maybe 7 matches. And this was the second match, was a tag match. I'm like, and then the match after me was Vinnie Massaro versus Mr. Wrestling
4.
4, which was JJ Perez, right?
Yeah.
So then I'm like, all right, JJ, Vinny, and JJ, you guys got 10 minutes. Because this tag match, it's the fucking Commandos. Dude, they're going to go. Dude, they got so much wrestling. They got so much shit. They're going to go like 15 minutes. They're probably going to go over.
I gave them 12, 15.
Right? So I'm like, dude, JJ, we're going to have like 8 minutes because they're going to go over. They fucking have a 2.5 minute match.
What?
And I was like, I come back and I was like, oh man. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Oh, what do you mean? He goes, dude, you guys were out there for like three minutes, with including your entrance. I don't know. And then I'll never forget what they said.
Oh my god. You're so.
It's the greatest thing, dude. Whatever. I'm never gonna wrestle for Hood Slam. Who cares?
Oh my god.
They say, bro, we ran out of moves.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And I was like, what? Like, seriously? And I was like, yeah, bro, we just did our shit. And I was like, but you were supposed to go like 12. You went like 4. Like 3.5 with entrances. And I'm like, so Gabe's like, fuck. He's, you know, lo and behold, a promoter has stressed out during the show.
Right.
Gabe's like, Vinny, I need you and JJ to go 18. I'm like, what? Now, most people are like, Vinny, why are you tripping? 18 minutes is fine. JJ Perez is Mr. Wrestling 4 is the fucking beloved. The fans love him. So 18 minutes means Vinnie Massaro has to bump
his
for
ass.
18 minutes.
Yeah.
For 18 minutes. It doesn't mean like we can fucking work. Doesn't mean we can go out there and work a hold. It's a Lucha Libre crowd. These like little kids out there. It's literally me bumping, dude, for 18 minutes. Just like I was like, oh my god, this fucking sucks.
Bump 37, bump 38.
Dude, I bumped my ass. But then I was like, oh, you know what? But it was cool because it was a great show. There was a lot of people in the crowd, and I was like, all right, Gabe, I want to do this again. All right, you, Vinny versus blah blah blah. Next show, bump, and I'm fucking bumping for like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
bump. Vinny, you're gonna be in a 6-man versus with Blue Demon and Cafu. Vinny, bump, dude. And I'm like, all right, dude, stop. Gabe, stop. We gotta stop.
And see that's when Tom Castor was booking for me. So Tom Castor had the Commandos who were wrestling for us as the weapons of mass destruction, and they did good for us. I mean, they had that one bad match, but it was I think it was like a weird 6-man tag, or I forgot what their match was, like 3 tag teams or whatever. But nonetheless, after that match, they came back with different gear, and they did fine for us. And I don't have a problem with them at all. They're good at what they do. But
in
Vinny,
their defense, they have a lot of high impact moves, and there's a lot of guys that are afraid of them.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that sounds right.
You know, I'll tell them to their face. I love those guys. I love, D Unit. He's fucking. I've wrestled. Me and him used to just have great matches, but a lot of guys are afraid of them. They're like, oh shit, we're gonna get fucking killed, and so I'm sure there's a lot of guys that are like, no, I don't want to take this. I'm sure they've heard no a lot.
And it was funny because this whole time I was worried about the Commandos, not fitting in, but they were fitting in. What I didn't understand is that even though Vinny was bumping his ass off, he was not fitting in. And so then Tom Castor calls me and he goes, hey brother, we gotta talk about Vinnie Massaro. And I was like, what? He just came on board. Now he wants out? I was like, it took all these years to get him on, and now that he's on, he wants out? He goes, yeah, he says it's really hard for him just to be bumping forever. He says he feels like he's a young kid again, and he should be on top.
Which, by the way, I was like, at this point, I was 34, and I've done death matches, and I've done kind of, so I wasn't ready, and I had a full-time job. So imagine getting a full-time job, labor job, driving, getting off work, driving 2 hours, an hour, bumping your ass up, and then driving back home. And then sometimes working the next day, you're like, you know what? All right, I don't need it. I don't need to do this.
Absolutely.
So he tells me, he goes, so Vinny wants to know if we can repackage him. He's open to doing anything. And I was like, come on, Tom. I was like, I got Rick telling me he wants to bring him on. And then you take the book, and now you bring him on, and now you want to repack. I go, how the fuck can you repackage Vinnie Massaro?
Okay.
I was like, dude, we do Lucha.
So if this is going to go the way I think it's going to go, I want to touch quickly. I don't want to overlook the time he had in Lucha Underground. So I wanted.
Well, this is after.
Yeah.
This is after Lucha Underground.
Yeah, so you got to tell Lucha Underground to get a fucking line. They got to wait.
Oh, so are we doing this now?
Well,
because we're going
in chronological order.
Do
Fuck
it.
Lucha.
Right.
We're doing it.
Calm down,
dude.
Lucha. Calm down, Control Pro Wrestling. Calm down.
No, I'm excited.
So I said, Tom, how the fuck do you want to repackage Vinnie Massaro? Like, what, make him Little Dick Grimes? He goes, that was one of his ideas. I go, no, I don't like hardcore. I'm not doing hardcore. He goes, yeah. And we went over. I go, no, Tom. I go, if it's not going to work, fuck, it's not going to work. We just don't do it. We move on. Fuck it. Scratch the booking, scratch the ideas, we move on. And then he says to me at the very last, well, he did have one idea. I go, what was that? He says right now, like, the Kung Fu Panda movies are really over.
Wow.
And like he sees how all the kids like it. He says he'll become a panda. I go, what? I go, so you want him to become a fucking panda? He goes, no, that's actually Vinny's idea, but I think it'd be kind of cool.
Well, this is true because this is actually my son's idea. Because my son.
No. I gave you the platform. It was my idea.
Yes.
Oh, that's true. Sorry, Roland. So my son loves Kung Fu Panda.
Right.
I mean, my kid was at this point he was like 10 years old. So like the people that know that have kids, when they want a movie, it's on like from morning till night.
Yeah.
Like it's like on loop.
Yeah.
It never fucking stops.
Right.
So for like 3 months, Kung Fu Panda was it. And my son would be like, Daddy, it's you. It's like, what do you mean that's me? It's you. I go, and I was like, what do you mean it's me? He goes, because look, they're laughing at you. They laugh, at first, because I took him to shows, right? And he goes, first they laugh at you, but then you do crazy moves, and then they think you're awesome. I'm like, holy shit, he's right.
So then Tom tells me that, and I go, man, a fucking panda. I go fuck, no, tell him no, tell him fucking forget it, done. So literally like a week or two later, I actually flew with Oliver John to Mexico to the Lucha Expo, and that's when Oliver defended the Revolution Heavyweight title in Mexico against Blue Demon, Mexico City. It was huge. It was awesome. And without going in that direction, I go for a walk, and Demon goes, "Hey, brother, want to be down for a little bit? Just go walk around, do a little sightseeing, go meet some of the boys." It's all right. So I was gonna go into the main locker room because I had bracelets to go inside. So I went the long way just to see the merchandise. I love the shit, and I see a shitload of kids bombarding a table. And I go, "Oh fuck, who is that?" Right? And I shit you not, I've told you this story, and if I'm lying, correct me point blank.
No, it's 100% true.
I walk right over, and there's 3 fucking pandas sitting at a table signing autographs with fucking kids going crazy.
Wow.
I go, what the fuck? So I walk over to Demon. I go, brother, what's that? He goes, oh, that's so-and-so panda, and that's his son, that's whatever.
It was a Super Panda.
Super Panda and
Super Panda Junior
or something, whatever.
Yeah, it was like whatever.
So I get my phone, and I call Tom. Tom, call Vinny. It's a done deal. He'll be a fucking panda.
So funny.
So that same moment, I walked over to a gear maker that I fucking knew Vaquero Fantasma.
Right.
So I walked over to the gear guy. I go, look, bro, I want a mask like that one that looks like this. He goes, all right, bro, give me a couple of months. And that's it. Fucking the gimmick came in. I took a picture. I go, all right, Vinny, if this shit don't work, we can pretend it never fucking happened, and we'll see. And let's see what happens.
And I'll say, El Ultimo Panda is It is the best gimmick, the fucking most, the highest attraction that Pro Wrestling Revolution has. Like, right. I would love to say it was the King FatBoy Papo Esco, but unfortunately, it's not the case.
Well, I think the Border Patrol will fight you on that one.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, yeah.
Well, okay, Border Patrol. When it comes, okay, I think the Border Patrol is by far the best gimmick that they have. that Revolution has ever had.
It's the most natural heel gimmick
it's the best.
for a Lucha Libre company.
Yeah. Ultimo Panda is like the most kid friendly, baby face. I think.
Right. No. Yeah.
Because you can't do Border Patrol everywhere because it's it's a little touchy subject and stuff. But by far, no. Like I don't care how many kids that love me, they're still booing the hell out of Oliver John at the end.
Absolutely.
So I agree with Gabe. Border Patrol by far is the best. It's the best one, but
I mean, if you're talking Rudo versus Technico, the Border Patrol is the greatest heels that ever stepped foot into Pro Wrestling Revolution. But you got to be
by far
as Ultimo Panda one of the biggest, if not the biggest, babyface that has ever come across. I mean, you're a huge reason why a lot of these kids come out. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
I would love to say that I'm this genius of a technical wrestler, but I mean it's a fucking panda that dances. I do not love it.
It's funny though because we went to something that we didn't believe would ever work, and I don't want to go into the legal stuff. Just going on the positive stuff. On the positive side, the panda gimmick has evolved from different looks of a mask and gear and so on. But I knew we had fucking lightning in the bottle when the first show he debuted, the music hit, and the song was brand new. It was a crossover, worldwide crossover, like everyone knows it. And he calls me and goes, "Brother, this has to be my song." I go, "What the fuck is this?"
And he goes, "Are you gonna dance?" I go, "You're goddamn right, I'm gonna dance."
So I was like, "Wait a minute." So you're gonna be from Japan with China, Japanda, but he's from Japan with fucking Chinese, Japanese characters on the pants, and then you can do a Korean dance.
Yes.
He goes, "Yeah,
I'm all over the place."
I was like, "Oh my god!" And the music hit, and it came out, and it was the first time ever. And this is what you hear next. Panda, 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 panda. And I was like, oh my god. And then I go home. The next day my dad calls me and goes, "¿Y ese pinche panda? Ah, cabrón, como me dio risa." And I was like, "Do you like him, Dad?" He goes, "Oh man, I love that stuff. And it was so funny. It was so this and so that."
Because I told Gabe, I was like, "Listen, I'm not looking to be like, don't put like the heavyweight strap. Like I'm not gonna go in there and clean house on the fucking."
Well, that was the whole idea. He didn't want to do that no more.
Right.
No, I go, dude, just put me. I told Gabe and tell me if I'm lying. I go, dude, I honestly, bro, I just want to take it easy. I go, put me in the opening match with your students.
Yeah. He goes, let me make sure you keep that payday good, but put me with the students. I'll do your little dance, and we'll go home.
I'll do a little dance. Sell some. Let me sell some merch. Fucking finally. That would be great,
right?
And let me just bump a little bit, but let me just do some kid stuff, and then because the thing too at the time, Gabe was doing a lot of fairs,
yes,
and a lot of shows where there was like kids everywhere.
Yeah,
like it was like 90% was kids, and we're like, all right, Border Patrol, go out there and no way, okay, hold on, we can't do that. So we're like, okay, so let's take it. So let's go. I go, Vinnie Massaro, go. No, can't do that. So I was like, okay, fucking, and now and ask Gabe. I'll be like, hey, Vinny, can you come here early and just walk the fair?
Yep.
And because the fair guys can't wait to see the panda. I was like, yeah. Hey, Vinny, the owner of the fair, his son loves panda.
Yep.
Can you please go out there and just, no problem, bro. Because I wanted to help Gabe out. Because I felt bad. I'm like. There's like, you know what I mean? There was like no. We needed something for the kids because we had great wrestling, but we needed something for the kids because it was a lot of the shows we used to run 95. Like, dude, it was like all kids.
Yep.
I mean, it still is a lot of kids, but so I was trying to help Gabe more than anything too.
Well, the kid aspect, and I know even to this day, a lot of the Pro Wrestling Revolution shows that we have, it's big show, small show, whatever, it's a lot of kids. So Ultimo Panda, as soon as that music hits, dude, that place erupts. I've seen it. I can attest to it. I'm a witness to it. Like one of the biggest fucking baby faces the promotion ever seen. I mean,
but it grew, and the thing is, once we saw it was taking off, certain matches, I would tell Vinny, look, brother, I need you to just I want you to follow Kikutaro. I want you to follow Super Porky. And it was a learning process for him as well. But once he found his stride, it was money, and it was just great. It was just it worked, and every show, he changed it up a little bit.
Right. It didn't get really good until me and Willie Mack started tagging up.
Yes. Kung Fu Hustle.
Yes. Oh man, now when me and Willie when we won the belts, fuck dude, that was like, and me and Willie would come out, and it was literally like the tag match would come out, and it was like guaranteed like 20-25 minutes of just pure fun match. Like I remember my favorite match was like me and Willie Mack versus Los Luchas.
Yes.
Dude, it was
in San Francisco.
So good.
Great match.
So good. And the fans, dude. People, I remember watching like just like everybody would just start like, dancing with, me and Willie, and we were like tag champs, and like people were like, no, we buy it. Like we're totally okay with, Willie Mack going out there shaking his ass, and this fucking Panda, dancing. It was we loved it, and then it was so cool because it added everything to like the show, because like it would be like, yeah, we're so happy, Panda, Willie Mack, we're all dancing, and then your next contest is Oliver John versus Blue Demon in a cage match. You're like, oh, and like the fans would be like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? Like they would go from dancing and happy to that.
And it was good to have Vinny in my ear for this stuff, because he would always, Vinny was always, how can I say it? It was never about him. It was about the show. And so he would balance me out and he goes, look, brother, we need this, we need that.
Right.
And it brought something that the shows lack, because comedy and lucha is a huge part of it. It's such huge. I mean, Super Porky, God, I mean, the stuff he did, good worker, but you remember him for the comedy.
Right.
And it's got to a point, go, hey, Vinny, I want you for this match, I want you to be the all Vinnie Massaro from 1997.
Right. Which I remember the first time he asked me that, it was the 6-man tag, and we had like Drake Younger in it, and he was like, dude, San Francisco, I want you to just go out, and we killed it. But like, it's and I know you can ask Gabe, and if I'm lying, please by all means tell me. But every time Gabe would be like, hey, you got a booking idea? Sure. and every time it's like Ultimo, Panda, and like, whatever student, whatever student we had at that time that just started.
Yeah.
Like, me versus him. They're like, dude, you want to be in the first match? Like, yes, Gabe, I really do.
Yep.
No. And then like Gabe will be like, no, you're in this 4 corners match. Fuck. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, you went from, you kind of fucked up, Vinny, because you went from wanting to be Panda to do a little bit less to being so fucking over that you did a lot more. And
but it's honest. Like I asked Gabe, it was like me and whoever student, like, the BMX rider guy, me and him together in the tag match.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or me and him, whoever it was. That's what I wanted to be in that scenario. But the problem is that then they would have in the middle would have that, like, we would have a big gap in the middle.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now.
So anyway, go ahead, Lucha Underground.
So now we fast forward to.
No, we can't go Lucha.
But we're gonna take that. We're gonna briefly touch on that, and we're gonna go to something else I want to talk about that might be a little bit more important to me and you and Vinny. So let's talk about the Lucha Underground experience. I mean, Pro Wrestling Revolution held a tryout for what was going to be Lucha Underground. You had guys like, Vinnie Massaro. You had guys like Jeff Cobb, Willie Mack, Famous B,
Brian Cage. Not Brian Cage. God, who else? There's a lot of people on that.
Yeah. Dylan Drake.
There's a lot that actually made it were Vinny,
Jeff Cobb,
Willie Mack, Famous B.
I think that might be it for that made it.
Yeah, you might be right.
So it happened, the tryout, and you were selected, right? And then you,
which was completely, like, it was so weird because the whole time I was doing that tryout, I was like, I'm not gonna do it. But and like you can ask Gabe.
He actually showed up late too.
Well, yeah, but you can ask Gabe. Is that I actually like during the tryouts I didn't do shit.
No.
Like I did heat, and I was a base for everyone because I wanted like let me get these guys over. Because I was like, dude, there's no way I'm fucking 30, like 30, 33, 34 years old. How the fuck am I gonna go to fucking AAA? Like it ain't gonna happen, because I couldn't wrestle as Panda. They wanted me to wrestle as Vinnie. I was like, all right, well, fuck it, that's not happening anytime soon.
Right. But you did get selected, and you did get the call to come down. What was that experience like? Being able to go into a new environment. I mean, I know from our perspective, and I say this a lot. Gabe. One of the dopest things about Gabe for me is that he makes you TV ready. I mean, he talks to you about hard cam. He talks to you about the different roaming cams that are around the ring, and you get an idea of how to maneuver around all that stuff. But Lucha Underground is something much different, because they're an actual TV show and they're doing cinematic television. So take me through like your experience with Lucha Underground and how it.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if I didn't go into Revolution and train at the times when Gabe would have like Sky Day or Lady Apache, I would have fucking failed. I would have gone the first episode and then probably left the second episode because a lot of things that happened while I was there is because of Gabe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of stuff that he helped me out with training there. Because everyone, obviously, I'm white, I'm light skinned, blue eyes. Everyone's like, the fuck's this guy gonna do with Lucha Underground? But they realize, holy shit, he knows how to base, he knows how to take 3/4, he knows how to do, I'm not a lucha expert, but I know I can keep up.
Yeah.
And that's all because of Gabe's training.
Absolutely.
So when I was there, I would talk to the guys, and it's like, oh shit, you train with this guy, you train with this guy. Oh yeah, come on. So it wasn't like, oh, this guy's just gonna be a quick jobber and get the hell out. So, I went down there. I took a chance and just drove down there pretty much. My wife, she basically told me, it's like, go down there, just drive down there. And I drove down there, and during the tapings, and I spoke with Conan. He's like, yeah, and Conan introduced me to Christy Josephs and all the people there. And then they were like, you know what, we'll give you a call, and I just kept showing up. They asked me to come down, and I would just drive down myself. And I remember I'm like, you know what, even if it's just gas money, who cares? But I'm gonna go drive down there and just be in their face. And then eventually, they were like, you know what, I remember I talked to Christy Joseph about it. It's like, this is the guy we need. This is the guy we want in here because he's willing to come down and sacrifice so much. So they gave me a job, and then I got a contract because of it.
Who came up with the idea of Vinnie Massaro? I don't want to say the pizza enthusiast, but I would say that that's probably what it was, because you were coming out there with pizza. You were doing this whole, I don't even know what to call it. Like, what was the gimmick in your opinion, and how did that all come about?
That's just honestly, that just kind of happened on Twitter, just or kind of organically.
Right.
It's just people started sending me pictures of pizza, and they're like, Vinny, give me a rating, and I would just give them like a pizza slice rating, and then people would be like, oh, you're like the Dave Meltzer of pizza. What I would give, instead of stars, I would give pizza slices. And then I think like Christy Joseph, he noticed that, and it's like, you know what, I like that. And of course, you can say you like that, and you can just kind of do it, but he made it into something more, and he put it in the TV show and made it to that, which I think is great.
Yeah, I think that was good too. So I gotta ask, we had the Lucha homies on last episode. We talked about Lucha Underground extensively. They talked about not having a new season and people still being under contract. Are you still under contract with Lucha Underground, or?
I mean, as far as I know, technically, I still am, because the contract is for 7 seasons, so 7 seasons haven't happened.
See, I asked them if there was like a 7-year deal, and they
I don't know, Holmes. I don't know.
They were kind of sidestepping.
No, I signed for 7 seasons.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's keep it real. If I want, I'm sure tomorrow, if I'm like, hey, I'm getting signed somewhere else, you know, they'll be like, okay, bye. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not. It's. I'm 100% positive that it's like it's. You know, I signed it. You know, because everyone. I remember everyone's like, don't sign it. And I was like, bitch, I'm like, it's like my fucking.
Yeah.
I'm 30. I'm 5 years old. Like, they're gonna pay me a lot of money.
Gotta fucking do this
Like,
shit. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Gotta fucking do this shit.
And I was like, I go, you know, I'm not gonna go to WWE. I'm not fucking, you know, WWE is like, you gotta drop everything and move to Florida. I ain't doing that. You know, I have a house over here. My family's over here. So Lucha Underground was literally the best scenario because they would call me and they're like, hey, we want you for this day. What time can you take your flight? And I would tell them, I get off work at this time, and they would give me a flight for that specific time.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they would literally like the day of, and then do you work? You know, I gotta take the next flight over, and then they would give me everything. They were very accommodating. They paid me very well. So, you know, anyone that says that it was a bad contract can suck it because it was amazing. I got paid lots of money. You know, I was on national TV. And you know, it was a great experience, and I got to meet a lot of Lucha Libre friends, and it was amazing.
Well, I want my 30% because I gave you the platform
That's right.
to get that.
This is true.
30%.
Yes. Sorry, Roland. My bad.
So speaking of like, you know, opportunities and just, you know, just building your brand and yourself. I mean, going back to Ultimo Panda, one of the other things that you were able to do as Ultimo Panda was go to All Japan Pro Wrestling, and I know for you. Just knowing you, Vinny, this was like a dream come true because All Japan Pro Wrestling was everything to you as a kid, growing up, even to this day. All Japan Pro Wrestling is it, and for you to have to go there and work, period, as Vinnie Massaro, as Ultimo Panda, or whoever, this had to have been the pinnacle of your career, right?
Yeah, it's the absolute greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my professional wrestling career. You know, it was. I remember, you know, just when Gabe told me, I started crying. I literally, and you know, pro wrestling, you know, I had never cried about pro wrestling besides when I got the call for Gabe told me I got booked, and when I actually wrestled at the first day of All Japan is when I cried about anything to do with pro wrestling.
So what
Go
ahead.
No, go. I want to make sure that we give all this the time it needs. But Papo, man, someone who loves control so much,
this is going to be a two-parter. No,
we're out of time, bro. We're out of time.
This is going to be a two-parter.
Yeah, so I think we need to start wrapping up and let everyone know that we'll be back, you know, next week with the next big podcast show.
Oh, what a cliffhanger!
Because
what a cliffhanger!
Yeah, we have so much to go. I mean, we have a 20+ year vet here who's done so much stuff. I think we got to give it proper. So, Vinny, if you're available, we'd love to have you back next week and
of course,
and knock this out and tell the story because the journey that you went to All Japan is special to me because when I called you, I cried.
It's amazing.
I cried with you. So I want to make sure I share the story, your journey there, your time there, and everything that goes with it. So if you can put it into your schedule in your controlled environment that you have at CPW,
this is great. Yeah.
Can we go ahead and get Mr. Vincenzo Massaro back?
Absolutely. I would love that. We still have a ton of stuff to talk about. All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes, we do.
The experience.
Plus, we haven't even touched
on Cain Velasquez. We haven't touched.
Oh God.
We haven't even scratched the surface, man. This is a great conversation.
You know, you've been wrestling for way too long when you have to do a two-parter.
Yeah. So this is what we're gonna do. Listen, Vinny. This has been a great conversation. This has been fucking awesome. I mean, we haven't even scratched the surface about what you mean to me. You know, in terms of just you being a person and you being a trainer. we'll get into that. We'll get into Cain Velasquez. We'll get into All Japan Pro Wrestling next week.
Buy some Lucha masks.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Please visit www.lucha-mask.com.
And don't be an idiot and put it on the fucking ear or put it under the chin. Seriously, okay, be honest. Like everyone, guys, seriously. We no, guys, we have a pandemic. Like, for real. Yeah. Please go out as somebody. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but my regular job, the job that I've been having for the last 20 years, I'm outside and I actually have to wear a mask because of my job. Go out and wear a mask. It's not that big a deal.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not gonna bring your heart rate up like everyone says. Like, shut up, wear a mask. And it's not because, I'm gonna get sick, but I'm healthy, so I'm gonna be okay. It's not because of that. It's because you're gonna share it. You're gonna give the virus to somebody else, and you don't know what their issues are. You don't know the person next to you, the person you ride with in the carpool to work with. He might have some issues. He might have an older person that he lives with. Just wear your fucking mask.
Absolutely.
Don't be an idiot.
Absolutely. And if you want to wear a mask, you got to go to lucha-mask.com. Period. So
buy the Panda.
Absolutely.
Buy the Panda one.
Whatever you do not buy the Disco Inferno one. That shit is.
Oh wow.
That shit. He might as well buy that for his strippers that he fucking has. They can wear them as G-strings.
And that's another.
That's just not happening.
And
No, nobody's wearing that one.
Sorry, Kevin Kleinrock.
Well, here we go.
That's just Kevin trying to get plugs for the.
Oh my god.
The show. All right.
Thoughts of Vinnie Massaro are not of that of Papo Esco at Control.
I don't care.
You gotta have control, bro. Get control of your show, bro.
And on that note, on behalf of the podcast, on behalf of Gabe Ramirez, and on behalf of Controlled Pro Wrestling.
That's right.
Controlled Pro Wrestling.
Control.
I can see Smokey now from Friday.
Control.
I am your master of ceremonies, the King FatBoy Papo Esco, man. We're gonna be back next week. Part 2 of Vinnie Massaro. We'll see y'all later, man.
Bodega.
And that right there, mi gente, is all she wrote. Well, sort of. We're going to have to come back for part 2, Vinny. This is the interview that's too big for one episode. So, we're going to bring Vinnie Massaro back for part 2 of this interview next week. But part 1, man, great conversation, even better stories. Vinny can talk, And the exclusive, the big reveal, the shocker. El Ultimo Panda is Vinnie Massaro. What? Yeah, I'm just as shocked as you are. Anyway, tune in next week when we have Vinnie Massaro back to discuss a lot of things, including his time in All Japan Pro Wrestling, his experience at Dragomania, Mexico. We're going to talk about training Cain Velasquez for his professional wrestling debut, among other things. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. It's going to be a great time. Well, that's our time for today. Before you go, please check out all forms of social media for us. That's Instagram, Straight Out of the Bodega, Facebook, Straight Out of the Bodega, Twitter, STR8OUTDABODEGA. Go on all forms of social media. Like us, friend us, follow us, comment, talk to us. We talk back. We trying to grow our fan base, man. We want to get bigger than we already are. So, help us, please. I'd appreciate it. Also, check me out on all forms of social media. That is Instagram, Papo Esco, Facebook, Papo Esco, Twitter, Papo_Esco. Talk to me, I talk back, man. I'm not gonna, shy away from nobody. You got something to say to me, say it to me, and we can work it out. You know what I mean? So on behalf of the podcast, I am the King FatBoy Papo Esco. Everybody have a good week. We're out.
Lucha-masks.com, in partnership with Mask Republic, give you personal protective masks to keep you Lucha strong in the fight versus COVID-19. With world-class luchadors Blue Demon Jr., the Lucha Brothers, LA Park, Ultimo Dragon, Cain Velasquez, Conan, and so much more. Head to lucha-masks.com and you too can become a masked warrior. Lucha-masks.com, powered by Pro Wrestling Revolution.